There is intense concern in Poland about whether the US will protect them. To alleviate Warsaw's concerns, the Americans have made the Vector Forward headquarters in Poznan permanent. Approximately 10,000 American soldiers are on rotational duty in the country. At the massive logistics base in pounds 215 Abrams tanks, 235 Bradley fighting vehicles, and 150 Paladin howitzers are stored in stock status, meaning their engines are oiled, their tanks are full, and they can be deployed to the front line as soon as a driver gets behind the wheel. While this number may seem small on its own, the critical point is that spare parts and ammunition are also stored in the same facility. In war, hours will matter, not days. Britain, Canada, Germany, and France are also sending continuous rotation exercises to the Baltic line. The British 7th Armoured Brigade, the French 2nd Armoured Brigade, and the German 1st Panzer Brigade are advancing on Polish highways in Leopard or Leclerc tanks at different times of the year. This traffic is a nightmare for Russian military intelligence. It is difficult to tell whether these are real deployments or exercises. On the air front, the main task of the F-35 is to hit without being seen on the first night of the Russian air defense. Although the Patriot and pad upper layer shields are not a definitive solution to the hypersonic threat, they will play a role in limiting the number of Kinzhal and Iskander missiles. The Russian side's claim that it will hire Korean artillery via Belarus is still just a scenario. Nevertheless, Polish planners are allocating significant funds to small, local, low-cost kamikaze drone systems. These loitering munitions can emerge from ambush and disable vehicles because foreign troops are unfamiliar with the terrain in field tests. Warmate drones have penetrated the upper armor of tanks and left explosives inside, equivalent to a hand grenade. As a result, instead of expensive tanks, low-cost unmanned threats have become a cause for concern. Will Russia take the gamble of marching? Despite all these preparations, an attack on Poland would only make sense in the Kremlin's strategic maps if it were based on gains on the front in Ukraine. Kiev is still standing, and the Russian army is suffering heavy losses there. The political and military risks of opening fire on a NATO country could destabilize Moscow's internal stability. There are those who say that Washington will delay despite the fifth clause, but murder this new heavy armored line in Germany and Poland's rapidly growing tank fleet are designed not to hold out until the US arrives, but to retaliate from day one. When the Via Carpathia motorway is completed and LNG terminals are connected, the gas tap will no longer be a threat. This is exactly what the Kremlin does not want. In addition to military risk, economic leverage is also fading. In a potential invasion, Russia's first advantage is surprise and speed. Poland is keeping its air defense radars on combat alert to avoid being caught napping on day zero. They are not switching to sleep mode. Patriot scans continue every night, regardless of whether they detect anything over Belarus. The space available to Russian pilots is shrinking. When they actually cross the border, the signal will be a mix of artillery, drones, and rockets. Instead of spending expensive ammunition one by one, they are applying multi-layered pressure. When it comes to the nuclear factor, Russian military doctrine puts the use of low-yield tactical weapons on the table if the conventional front is lost. NATO, on the other hand, has unofficially defined every nuclear explosion as a strategic response under Article 5. In other words, if the Kremlin launches a tactical strike as a deterrent, it risks becoming a target itself. The consequences of such a strike on the Polish border would be incalculable. Moscow is expected to weigh this seriously, at least for now. Amid all this military preparation, the Polish people are keen to ensure that civil defense is not neglected.